It. Good evening. Good evening. We thank you all for being here. We thank you for tuning in to Letha's Real Talk. My name is Letha. We have our co-host Frederica who's standing by as we need her. And also we also have our awesome special guest who's he'll be co-hosting soon. He's always available, Mr. Arthur Justin Wilson. We want to give a big shout out to Miss Frederica for orchestrating this and facilitating this tonight. We have two dynamic presenters, two awesome people who are going to come in and they're going to share with us tonight's topic: how Black male leadership affect our youth. How do Black men in leadership affect our youth? We have a young lady by the name Miss Christiana McNeil, and we have an awesome gentleman by the name of Mr. Dennis Norton Jr. Miss Christiana, give us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good evening. Um, Thank you for having me. This is a very important subject to me, so I'm happy to be here to share my insight on it. Just a little brief summary about me. Um, so right now I have the role of being national director of a mentorship program through Authentic Beauties, which Mr. Dennis is the co-founder for. And our mentorship program focuses on girls and boys. Boys being my passion because I was a boy mom to begin with, and I have now three teenage boys that I raise on my own. I see the need for strong Black leaders, especially, being a mom and trying to take on that responsibility is, tell them how to be strong. I can't do that on my own. So having those men out there being strong and being leaders are very important to me. And I just want to iterate that tonight and, let Black men know they're needed in the society and they're always been needed, you know. And a little more about myself. I'm an advocate in the community. Lately I haven't been doing as much as I would like to, but I've always been out there to advocate for our people, especially our Black men. So
Well, we thank you so much, and we thank you again. We really sincerely thank you for being here. Mr. Dennis, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, my name, of course, is Dennis Norton, and I am, as Krishana has let you all know, I am the co-founder of Authentic Beauties, which is a mentorship, leadership, as well as community service and pageantry um, organization that does a whole lot of things. We um, do a whole lot of community service, and our specialty is empowering families to have different types of experiences in the community. I am also a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I have a lot of accolades and titles in that arena. I also have been a youth diversion counselor in one of my past lives, and have been mentor to many young men. I have also done ministry at a boys' training camp for young men who were incarcerated. I have also, again, with being a youth diversion mentor, I have operated a transitional living home for young men. I've had a lot of experience with mentorship and youth, young men, as well as young women. And I'm originally from the great state of Michigan, but I am now currently residing in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. We thank you all so much for being here. We thank you so much. So we're going to dive right into it. I do want to start with Miss Christiana, maybe mainly because she is a boy's mom and she is single. And I think that it is very important to hear why, why the need is so important from her perspective, and just a little brief description as to some experiences or anything, Miss Christiana, that you feel like sharing. And then from that point, we'll go back and forth, us all. Justin will be chiming in also. Frederica, she'll let us know when she's able to chime in, but she is here with us for sure. And then from that point, we're officially in our open panel. Miss Christiana, talk to us. You mentioned that you are a boy mom, but talk to us and talk to everybody as far as why, your whys, as to why you see that this is so important.
Sure. One thing I learned over the years, Black boys need leadership, but not only just leadership, they need the Black male leadership. They need to be able to see themselves and, and reflected in Black strong male leadership these days. We don't have that much here. We don't have that much in the United States at all, to where they can, look up forward to. And when I say leadership, Black male leadership, we're talking about leaders that really make a difference in day to day. So being a strong independent woman, they will think that that will be, something, that they should look for when they go out in the world and things like that. And I always have to tell them, son, I'm only strong because, I have to be. But this is not what I want you to go out there and look for. I want you to be a leader. I want you to be, the best that you can be, so you can raise your family and have them, to look up to you as a man, and have your community to look up to you. I'm very strong with, the Black family values. I try to still instill that in them, but it's kind of hard to still do that if you don't have, that those male role models out here. Um, I'm very with that motto. It takes a village. That's my motto with the mentorship program too, because I feel like the village went away somehow. We've always, when I was coming up, one person was responsible for everybody's kid, or everybody was responsible for everybody's kid. It's not, that's your kid and we're not dealing with it. Now we don't have those villages for these boys especially, and we're seeing the outcome of that. So I don't know. It's just I learned from experience and seeing everything that's happening with these boys now. And I'm seeing that we need to have those Black leaders in the forefront now. We need to start producing more Black leaders and have those conversations with these boys at younger ages.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm gonna just jump in. I have two sons, and it's rough even with them having active role models. And I can commend Miss Christiana for um saying it takes a village, because I was blessed to have a village and still got a village, and my youngest is 20. And I do believe that it makes a difference the more you see outside of the home. Um, One of my sons on his job, my 21-year-old, I say you need to get up under you some of those older men even on your job. And he got a few of them that's been looking out to him and looking out for him. I've never even met them, but I can just tell a bit of a difference. So it does make a difference. And I'm like, Miss Christiana, you all are needed. And I can appreciate her. You can just hear it in her voice that she truly has the passion to do this and for spreading more of that awareness, because I can only speak about what I see. I don't see that we speak about this enough. I don't see the conversation. We have it, but I think we kind of say, oh, you're needed, and we kind of drop it off. So with her tapping into her whys, that's very important. And for myself as well, not just with my sons, I have nephews, I have younger cousins, you know, it's like it's scary to see sometimes even when people have had that support. Um, you're just sometimes so concerned as a woman. For me, even if what they have, is it even is it even enough? Because we do need more. We do need more. Mr. Dennis.
Well, um, there was a lot of nuggets that you all have thrown out, especially as it pertains to the need for the representation of Black males in society, in homes, in business, and in all of the areas that we can be placed. It's kind of interesting that we live in a country that even now we're discussing things politically and socially about the racism and the different things that occur in society. And we're looking at the majority, as we all know, of our Black males, the adults, those that should and could be leaders, are making different types of choices that may not um, feed into or assist in creating an atmosphere of positive, of upstanding, empowering Black male role models for the people that are in our communities. Because number one, we have a lot of them that are going to prison. A lot of Black males are in prison. A lot of Black males are choosing, other things beside um, trying to get involved in, I guess, the way that society allows or wants black males to be successful and to do all these different things. We have taken the opportunity to say that success is money, and I'm going to get it as, you know, whichever way that I can get it, and I want to get it as fast, and I want to get a whole lot of it because we think that money in and of itself is going to be the answer to a lot of the issues that we have. And then when we go trying to get after fast money, like a lot of people are tempted to, and a lot of people have done, we end up making decisions and choices that, bring us into a realm that we have no business being in, and that is in the court system, because racism and all these different things, it's against us. And so it's almost as if there is, a plan to exterminate, a plan to get rid of, and a plan to destroy not just the Black male, but the Black family as a whole. And, a lot of times, especially from my perspective, growing up in Michigan, in Detroit, I'm from Detroit. I'm the son of a single mother. My father chose to go to prison. Instead of raising his children, he decided that he was going to go to prison. And so it was difficult for me to grow up in that circumstance, in that situation, just as what Ms. Letha, you and Krishana are talking about, where you have sons that are trying to grow up in a system that really is pitted against them and try to become successful. And it feels like the entire weight of the world and all sorts of different things have been placed against us. And then we look around and there's nobody out there, or nobody that we know that's close in the community, that is allowing us to be able to see a pattern, to see an example, to see something that is going to inspire us, something that is going to motivate us, something that we can pattern our lives behind. And so it's very difficult. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean that we can give up on what is necessary for us to do for the success of our people. And we've got to stop as individuals, like Krishana was saying. When I grew up, it was a village. Where most of us grew up, it was a village that was helping to raise the people in the community. And so it's time for some of us as Black men to give back. Some of us, there's a lot of us who've gone to college, or a lot of us who've become successful, or a lot of us that have become ministers, preachers, and other types of leaders. But we're so busy, as they talk about today, chasing the bag, that we forget about the importance of our presence in the community in and of itself. I believe it's the Bible that talks about Cain and Abel, the brothers, but the question went out to Cain, am I my brother's keeper? We are our brother's keeper. We're more than just our brother's keeper. We're the keeper of our own community, and we've got to take an opportunity to take a stand and recognize the importance of the legacy that we can leave, as well as what we are leaving behind, and stop being so selfish. I'm gonna stop talking because I could talk all night. Miss Lisa, I think your mic is muted.
I'm sorry. No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. This is what we do. Justin, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I appreciate you both being here and for the work you're doing in the community. Kind of did some reading on the profiles before we got here, and I think what Reverend Norton just talked about. My first question I wanted to ask uh Brother Dennis, from the perspective as both a spiritual leader and a mentor, what do you believe young Black men are missing most today that strong male leadership can restore?
First of all, identity. The first thing is identity. Even if we were to go back to the Bible, we see that from the beginning there was a need and a desire for both male and female to have identity. A lot of times we miss identity as far as the divine identity, or a religious identity, because we stray away from God, and God is the one who wants to give us a divine identity. Even in society as Black males, it's the identity of what is a Black male. Is he just a rapper? Is he just that guy on the corner? Is he just a basketball, a football, or this type of individual? What is a Black male? What is a black leader? What is that, as we would come to define those things today? So I would say the first thing is the lack of identity. If you go around and you look in the streets, you look around at the schools, and you look at what it is that the young people are really looking for, why is it that they're listening to certain music? Why is it that they're wearing certain sneakers or doing this thing and emulating the things that they're emulating? Is because that's a part of them trying to develop an identity. So what's missing to me across the board, secondarily from identity, would become balance. balance is another thing that's missing because, as we talked about, we have single parents on this call with us. We have people that are in the viewing audience that are single parents. Why are they single? Parents. So a lot of times what's missing, even in mentorship, because we can raise boys up to be very strong and very masculine, but sometimes balance of the masculinity in terms of being able to talk to a woman, in terms of being able to relate to opposite sex is missing. Why? Because there's no balance. So then, to me, in society, what's needed is both masculine and feminine so that it can bring balance and so that people can become whole as they're searching for their identity. Why is it that we have young men and things where we're talking about young men being so I guess toxically masculine? I don't really abide in that, but toxically masculine, or they're you know, they treat women so badly. It's because the absence of the example of a father being able to relate to the woman that he loves in a way that is healthy, in a way that is positive, that in a way that is wholesome and it is enriching. Even if we go through things, think about it. We've come through slavery. And it was imperative and important for us to maintain what? Family. Then we allowed the deception of individuals who brought in different things to try to break up our families because of their fear of having a population of individuals that they don't understand, they don't know how to deal with because we've been separated as a human group of people, as humanity. So now we have a situation where drugs have been brought into the community. We've become both users and dealers. But those are decisions that we made because it's been made to look like it's easy. I don't have to go get a degree. I don't have to do all of these things. I can almost use the things that I know from the street and my street knowledge and my common sense, and I can be the greatest dope dealer ever. Or I can become somebody who's addicted to the same thing that my brother's over here dealing. So then my third thing is a sense of community. Why are we doing these things to our own people? Why are we making these decisions? Why are we making these choices? And then we go from there. And I know I'm doing a whole lot of talking. I apologize. But we go from that part to our position as it relates to society in and of itself. We as a Black community are able to have we spend the most money. We got money, y'all. We got money. But what is it that we're spending our money on? Why is it that other groups of people have lawyers, have judges, have all these different things that make a difference in their position in society, but yet what we want to cheer more on is things that have to do with being entertained? The majority of the things that we seem to be so drawn to is things that have to do with being entertained. Scientists, The majority of what is happening in America today is built on the backs of Black people who were scientists, who were entrepreneurs, who were business people. Why is it that they're trying to erase out of our history Black Wall Street and all of these different things? It's because they don't want the example of powerful, united people coming together because of the fear of who it is they would have to deal with, because they have been made to believe that we're animals, that we're all of these different things. And the scariest part of the Black community is what? The Black male. It's the Black male. They scared. Mike Tyson is a boxer. Can you imagine 1,000 Mike Tysons just walking around in the street saying hi to Becky and Rachel and all of these different people? Can you imagine what it would be like if we had, uh, you know, people who are athletic like Michael Jordan, who are able to leap over things and do all this different? That's scary because they cannot do it. It's scary. So we have to erase people's history. We have to erase the leaders. We have to get rid of the Black male. And so now we're looking at a society that's doing exactly that. Even if you look at the election, right after you had a Black president, you got a whole group of people in the United States who, not saying it, but they are showing you, you will never have another Black face. If they have anything to do with it, you'll never have another Black face as a leader in this country if we have anything to say about it. DEI going away. Why? And what are we doing? We're not getting together and forming the things and doing the things that we really could do and need to do, because half of us are kind of co-opted to a system that doesn't really care about us, but we're so separated. We're so individual. We're so broken, and we're all of these different things that they call us. But really, to be honest, I don't really think that it's as bad as what people say. We just haven't woke up yet. So I'm gonna stop talking and let somebody else jump in here, because I've been doing a lot of talking, and preachers can preach. So we just stop talking now.
No, you don't have to stop talking. This is what we're here for. So since our facilitator has made it on, she's going to jump in. We just go at it before we do move any forward. So I do want to ask Christiana, does she has anything to add to that? And from this point, Frederica and Justin, I'm enjoying it too much. So I'm just chilling right now. This is good. This is awesome.
Mr. Dennis was preaching. I didn't hear one lie told. Everything is certainly true. I mean, from the beginning, they removed the Black man from the household. And I mean, and nowadays we can't really, we can go back to where they were brainwashed to think that they don't have to be in the household to raise the children. They can go on the street and continue to do the things they're doing, which deplenishes the whole Black race, really. Because if you look at it, you don't have any examples anymore. They put so much in their heads that they don't need to be in the household. They don't need to be strong. They just go out there and do what they do because they're afraid. They're afraid when once we come to our senses, we'll get to where we're supposed to be in the natural order. But Black men have to wake up as well and figure out their place in society. They have to, before it's too late. That's where it boils down to. They're needed. They need to understand also that, they're loved. Because it's a lot of times, Black men are afraid to show emotion because, they think that's a sign of weakness. And it's not. A lot of times we as, not even just women, but we as a society let down our Black men as well, because we don't allow them to have the mental peace that they need to have, or the mental strength they need to have to be able to lead. So that's another big thing too. In order to have successful Black leaders, we need to allow them to have that mental health part of it too. We need to make sure they're mentally strong to carry on everything, because it's way different from being a woman and being a man. I understand that there are things that they have to deal with mentally and internally we don't have to deal with, but at the same time we need to make sure they have that correct support so they can be those leaders and be head of household. So, Mr. Dennis, I mean, everything you were saying was absolutely true, and we can go down the rabbit hole all day about this stuff. But we're gonna get all the answers we need, but we got to get it out to the people who need to get them. And it's, my thing is, I love to do the talking about it, but I want action, and I want it to, go through. I want it to touch people and continue to touch people. So, once I figure out where I can put my talking into action, I'm gonna be all for it.
Can I? So I appreciate that. I got a question for Miss Krishana. I said it correctly. All right. So as a boy mom of three
Yes.
and national director of a male mentorship initiative, what do you believe are the most critical elements that young Black boys need from the village right now, and where are we falling short?
They need to be able to have those open conversations with men in the community. Men, and I'm not even saying that they have to be free of fault. You have men who have fallen down, who have gone through those hard times. We need to be able to have these boys to be able to go out here and have these conversations and get the real truth. We can't depend on school to do it. We can't depend on social media. Can't depend on these rappers to do it, because this is where they're going wrong. We need to have, you know, back in the day, the church used to be some of the rock and the foundation for things. Not too many. I have not seen too many churches now open up their doors to, the young guys these days, and just having these open conversations, allowing them to come in certain nights, and maybe, we have these churches with these gyms, have them to come in and shoot ball, and at the same time, y'all having conversations about real life. They need those type of outlets. And at the same time, with those outlets, you may want to have somebody come in that's a mental health counselor, kind of work those aspects in. But there is a need, and these boys are crying out. And you know where they're going? They're going to people like Young Boy, because they're listening to him, and they're like, he feel my pain because he, saying some things that I feel, but at the same time, he's using their pain and putting these false perceptions in their head. And if we get the community, the village, to come back out, we can help some of this, what's going on with these boys going astray. I mean, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing these boys crying out, and at the same time, I don't have the resources to give it to them. And I'm out here looking for male mentors, I'm talking to a lot of guys, and they just don't have the time. I'm like, listen, I'm on your time. Just tell me when you can do this, because it's needed. You know. So we're basically begging, 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 begging. And I understand the hesitation, because, you don't know what these boys have been through mentally, but we got to start somewhere, and if we start somewhere, I think it should be places like the church and safe places, to go ahead and get this started and have these community events. And then once people see that we as a community, Black people as a community, still care about our youth, then everybody else will fall in line.
Amen. I guess the only thing I would say, I have more questions written down, but I agree with what both of you have said. I think we as the village / community have to, let me ask this, what do you think about the church helping these young people, but not necessarily within the four walls? Because sometimes we have to acknowledge that over time there's been a lot of humanity to pop up in the church, and our young people have saw it. And what has been portrayed, what gets portrayed is divinity, but then they turn around and see humanity. So then when you get the thing about young boys, they can watch him sitting in the living room, or they can go to the community and see young boy in different people. But I think that, what do you think about mentors, men in leadership, leaving the four walls,
Mhm.
going out there, being able to stand with them
Yeah.
while they are in their element, behaving like they're in their element,
Yeah.
redefining what we see respect as, and being able to cut through all of the overgrowth of worldly influence that the young people are experiencing? Because we're not just dealing with young people who grew up in the hood, we're dealing with young people who can sit in their living room and see
Mhm.
how people live clear on the other side of the world, and be influenced and
Mhm.
molded by these things.
Right.
Um, what would you, how would you say, what would you say about us finding ways to get out of the four walls, but take the church to the park or the block or wherever they are?
When I said the church, I didn't necessarily mean those four walls.
Right.
Because what I'm thinking, part of the church's responsibility, from what I was brought up, was to go out there and be ministry. So you can't be a ministry staying within those four walls. And you also
Mm.
have to be able to relate and bring those who have went astray back in. And they may have never been introduced to church. My thing is, we're going to put, not really put that aside, but we're going to go out there and do what needs to be done to save your community. That
Mm.
should be first. And once you go out there and in the trenches and out there hands on, I'm saying you can go to the neighborhoods, you can go to the school, wherever those trouble areas are. That's why I expect people from the church to go. You know, I definitely wasn't talking about them staying in the four walls. And I definitely think it's needed for them to go out there. You know, like we have community groups here now that go out to one of the places I grew up in, the Bishop. We have people who go out there now and do ministry. They take their ministry out there
Mm.
to help those kids and talk to them. They don't go out there that often, but they do go out there. And see, that's the things I'm talking about. And they follow up with these kids. Some of them have sent them to camp. Those are the things we need. But we need more groups of people doing that. Not standing from the pulpit and preaching about it and hoping they will find their way in the church. That's not going to work. It has to be a more hands-on approach. So I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna jump in again on this.
I was hoping so.
I'm jumping in on this because what we have a lack of understanding a lot of times is that we call ourselves Christian. Christian means Christ-like. And if we were to read the Bible and look at what Christ was doing, and we look at what we're doing today, those are two different things. It's not even similar. If we really get down to it, it's not similar because why? Christ was in the community. He always was found where? In the community. He wasn't in the walls of nobody's church except to go teach and tell them about themselves. And then he left out from telling them about themselves to go with the community. He fed the 5,000. How you fed 5,000 in the wall of your church? Ain't happening. He preached to the multitudes. The multitudes may come to church, but they're not the community that's out there that needs what is missing in this whole conversation somewhat about Black male leadership and young people is the compassion. That's the simple thing. Where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where is that you see, as Jesus said, that he saw the people as sheep without a shepherd? He was moved with what? Compassion. You see the problem, but what's the first thing we do? That's not my business. I'm going in my house. I'm gonna shut my door, and I'm not gonna be a snitch. I'm not gonna be all of these things. I'm not gonna be nosy. I'm not gonna be none of these things. But yet and still, we got people suffering. But we have allowed people to define what good moral character is going to be. Good moral character is good moral character. It doesn't matter where you are, where you go. If you see somebody in need, it should behoove you to help. But that's what we're missing. Nobody's teaching the compassion anymore. Nobody's teaching the love. Nobody's teaching what's necessary. So for us to be, we talk about the church and then you say the four walls, but I just want to ask, is that really church?
I said,
Because if you ask certain people, I'm coming right back to, I'm gonna be quiet, I'm telling you, I am. But if you ask the right people who really studied the scriptures, the Bible says that we are the called out ones, we are the church. So if you're the church, I'm the church, the place that we go is called the congregation. It's the congregation of all of us come together as our individual churches to go do the will of God because each of us have a calling. And it is the true church's job to release you and to equip you for your calling.
Mm.
Not to have you sit and pay like you sitting in like a concert, like back to that entertainment. Church is like entertainment. It's not entertaining concert. It's you come, we get together, I sharpen the irons, iron sharpens iron, we sharpen each other, and we go out, and then we come back and say, hey, this is what I was able to do this week. That's supposed to be what church is.
Mm.
And because of what I was able to accomplish, let's sing a song. I feel like praising them. That way, there's no need for a cheer group and pom poms and come on and come on. I'm already hyped because look at what I did. Look at these young men. Look at these young ladies. Look at this thing, these problems I solved. That's what Jesus was doing. I don't know what these people that call themselves the church are doing.
Mm.
Miss Letha, I saw you ready. I'm gonna stop talking.
well, I was gonna hold my mule, but it's a few things that all of you all have touched on. So, Reverend Dennis, initially you mentioned the word entertainment. That has a lot to do with a lot of churches. Initially, you mentioned how we spend, and we do spend. That's why it bothers me when we say we're poor. We poor because we spend. We don't put our money in certain things, you know. Um, in regards to Christiana and Justin, I tell people the same thing. You take a look around, that's the church. People, we're the church. The church has to be, you have to be a reflection of everywhere you go. You know, the temple is a place to congregate, in my most humble opinion, around fellow believers. But the ministry does not take, the majority of the ministry should be happening outside. I was fortunate enough in my adult years. Well, I'm gonna say this: in my young years, I was made to go to church. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We had to go to church. If my mother worked, we had to go to church with my grandmother and my grandfather on both sides. Mom and dad decided it didn't matter. You had to go. In my adult years, when I was going, I don't go like I should. I'm not gonna blame it on COVID. I'm gonna blame it on myself. However, I was blessed to be able to bring them in an environment that was kid church friendly. Because when you have small children, and even with whether they're single fathers, single mothers, or grandparents, that's not trying taking these children to church. Some churches are not children friendly, but they are entertainment friendly. Children need activities, they need things to do. Another part of some things that I've seen and heard over the years, people have to be okay with the village helping. I know I was raised around educators. My sister been teaching for almost 30 years. My aunt taught for 31. My daddy is a retired school teacher, stepmother, retired school teacher, grandparents on both sides, retired school teachers, aunts, uncles, retired school teachers. Presently now, in the beautiful city of Jackson, Mississippi, where we have this leadership in the faces. Sometimes when we are in positions, we don't do what we should, whether it's at home with the parents. And then when you do have people attempting, some parents don't want you saying nothing to their child. And I know for a fact, in this particular school district, you have to tread lightly because we have attendance issues, which affects government funding. And these are elephant in the room discussions that sometimes we don't hold as a Black community. So when you have people that presently go in, now Frederica volunteers, her daughter is still in school. I'm convinced that as active as she is, she's not just going to drop the ball, but I also know that there are men, maybe not as many as women, maybe probably not as many as women, but parents need to be okay. I told the coach at Callaway, whatever you say, go. I'm not that parent. I would not dare challenge you. If he got to run till his legs fall off and because he did something in the classroom that he didn't have, I'm the parent that gives you a pass. So what happens is a lot of parents, I can't tell somebody how to help me. I have to take the help that's given to me. Because people sometimes don't help because people want to dictate how the help comes. I wasn't finna tell these men what to do on how to deal with my sons. And their daddy was okay with it. But they got it first from me. Period. Now, a lot of people, male and female, grandparents, age, no matter what the age is, I think we can agree that discipline has not only been ripped out the school, there's no, you're not disciplined at home. And when you do have parents who do attempt to discipline at home, because I know a lady right now caught up in some CPS stuff, all for discipline a child that had the audacity to raise up at her in her house. I would have got laid out on the floor, and the police would not have done nothing if I would have raised up at my mom. And so we justify bad behavior with lack of, sometimes, I'm not even going to say most of the times, but there is a lot of bad behavior issues being justified, sometimes because of who not present. When the law say you can go cuss a teacher out and turn right back around and be up in their school. When the law say, call me and we're going to open up a CPS case on your parent. And that's been to the point to where I told this young lady, you ain't living around enough black people. I came out and said it. I said, I know Jackson been on the news about a lot of stuff, but my son would not have got that scholarship if he was still going to school in Clinton, because it was the black assistant principal that did not want to deal with him. And when he went to a school where people that spoke his language, grades went up, attitude changed, everything got better. I went off because I went to the school one day and his pants weren't hanging right. And the assistant principal told me, Mama, leave him alone. He don't bother nobody. And this is the same child that I got a phone call from. We stayed getting phone calls from the time he went to Head Start all the way through the 8th grade almost every day. And change in pace, in environment. And he had his village. And he knew he would get some heat put on his seat. All my children did. But this particular one, when his environment changed, he was around people who could speak his lingo. And what I notice about parents, sometimes they put their kids in environments trying to force things where people don't even want to be bothered with their kids in the first place. And I talk, and I that's been my testimony. No, I don't care how bad I can talk about JPS. I got a right to talk about JPS. I sit here and I pay taxes, and I've been living here paying taxes since I was 1996. But I also commend those that crew of people, because even though he was around other people, that wasn't the right village for my child. It just wasn't. He at school majority. He at school like we at work. So your children are still at school more. And all of a sudden, he goes to another school in the 9th grade. Everything changed. Everything. Now, did he have a little hump and bump? Yeah, but when they called me, it's them telling me, "Hey, this what happened. Hey, we got company today. He's showing, this is an off the record disciplinary, but we can't be doing no problem. Y'all ain't gonna get no problem out of me. He needs to do his work. It need to be done. We'll talk on this day. This one, no problem. We'll all be up there." So, as a parent as well, and then based off what I see, black school teachers are still telling me to this day, even with some of these people's dad is involved, it's very concerning that some people say on one hand they lacking something, but on the other hand, they're not meeting the people where they are who's willing to offer the help. Now, I'm only speaking about Jackson, Mississippi, because that's where I live, and it's what I know, and it's what I hear from people who've been doing this for more than 5, 10, 15 plus years. And it's kind of like the church used to be the hospital. It's then became over too entertaining. It can be too stressful for any parent. It can be too stressful. Because y'all talking about collecting money and somebody's light bill may be due. And I got to turn around and buy uniforms and buy clothes. And I got to do all of this. And we just trying to make it. You know, y'all putting devices in their faces. And then get mad at them because they on some websites y'all don't want them on. Instead of advocating for them to have books. Because we know they're going to go home and get on their smart TVs anyway. And they iPads anyway. And they dressing good anyway, and everybody eating free in JPS anyway, and JPS black men, black women wasted over $1 million in food. And it's kind of like, if Christiana needs some help, she got to beg for the help, and she want the help. She's open to the help. I'm sorry. It irritates me knowing that you got somebody who's working on building something for these youth and begging for the help and asking for the help. But we can be entertained. And then somebody over here trying to help little Susie or little Johnny, willing to get them all the resources, and they mama, dad, or whoever don't want it. They don't want you to call them. That's they parents have told teachers, I dropped them off. They're your responsibility. Don't call me before 3:30. I said, why y'all can't call CPS? Some of these principals don't even want them calling CPS. I'm like, I'm confused. Like, this is what's happening in some of these places. And it's more of a it's more disheartening knowing you have somebody out here who is hitting the pavement as a mom, asking for help. Okay, who is okay with the village? And I'm not saying people here not. I'm just saying I got a problem people eating free and y'all got vending machines in the hallway. I'm talking about Jackson Public School District. I got a problem with that because if everybody can eat free, who can afford to buy food at the vending machine? And these are patterns that's being taught just in general. And it's like, just deal with it. Get them here. We're going to get our government funded. Then the parents don't send them to school. All of a sudden, it's somebody else's fault when you're not sending them. Well, why they going to keep giving y'all money? Why y'all, schools are closing down. Lack of attendance. Truant officers. And Frederica can attest to this because her child is in JPS. These truant officers their goal ain't never been to send no parents to jail. Go knock on the parents' door 3-4 times in probably a couple of months. Folks still want to send these kids to school. They was not these parents. And it's kind of like something has fallen off. I'm sorry. I said I was gonna hush, but it's just it's a concern it's almost like it's a virus that is just constantly spreading. So now Sally can't learn because the teacher got to deal with discipline problems. No child left behind, really. We don't have to know basics. No child left behind left a lot of people behind. And it's like, I'm a hush, but these are some good things, awesome nuggets. But for me, it is so disheartening knowing you got somebody out here and I know she's not the only one. I know we're not the only people that care. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's disheartening knowing that the desire is there. Because whether I wanted something or not, I was made to get it. It didn't matter that I snuck out with them shorts on in school. My mama got called off her job. I got knocked upside my head. Wasn't nobody gonna call the police on her. When I skipped school and didn't have the principal had to pull my mama off of me. She didn't call no police on my mama. This is the society that we're living in, and I'm not justifying parents, but if the laws, that's why I tell people just because it's legal, don't make it right. Because there are some moral things that are illegal. It's a lot of legal stuff that's ain't lining up. And even in slavery, people had discipline and order. How we worse off almost now than we were all them hundreds of years ago? That's a concern to me. That's a concern. No discipline. And I really think it starts with discipline. My most humble opinion. Discipline is a big issue. Because if we never would have got on these kids and they ain't nowhere near perfect, Lord Jesus, and all of them different. And they had a village. I'm so confused. I'm just hearing what I'm hearing is even more of a concern because it's like you can't compete with the law too much. You can't discipline. I can't discipline my child. They go out here and rob somebody or do something wrong. You can kill them dead in the street. I can't discipline my child. And I'm not supposed to teach them to have demand respect. Cause to me they got too much and they just it's not too much. I'm not saying it right. However, if if I can get called on, you ain't got to respect the parent. How you gonna respect the teacher and you spending more time with the teacher through the week and you are at home? Then they take this stuff out here in these streets. And I do believe it has a lot to do with lack of discipline. Because some people don't want you saying nothing to their children. Some folk, you better not say nothing to their kids. The lady the other year was on the news, and I'm a hush after this. Unfortunate situation happened, unfortunately, some years ago. And it was literally on the news. And they down at the courthouse. And the mama's statement was, my son might rob somebody, but he wouldn't kill nobody. That lady got up and said that. You're not gonna tell me somebody bold enough to rob somebody ain't gonna kill nobody. But she said it. So your son might rob somebody. She got up and said it on public TV at the courthouse. But he wouldn't kill nobody. Then I know could nobody say nothing to her child at school. I know that people probably offered her help, but it's like, and then you got somebody right here, Miss Christiana, and Frederica does some things right now also. And the help is not, it's like the help that's wanted can't get the help that they need, and the help that's being offered is trying to connect with the people who just, that's a concern for me. And I'm hush. I'm done.
No,
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna mute myself.
I feel like you hit the nail on the head right there. Parents are afraid to be parents. We don't have those same parents that we had coming up because they're afraid of all the new laws. I am being one of them. I got old school discipline, and it didn't kill me. It made me the person who I am. I'm still a little hard headed, but I know certain things not to do in society. I know certain things not to do in the world of business. I knew certain things not to do at school. But because we can't discipline and we can't withhold things like our parents used to do to us because they're telling these kids they have a right not to listen to their parents. But then they don't explain to them the consequences. When they don't listen to us, then they're either going to be dead or in jail. And I think that's what they want. They're poisoning our community to lessen our population. And see, people are not seeing that. They're not waking up and seeing this. They're okay just getting their little food stamps and their assistance. And, they think the government care about them like that. They don't care about you. They're trying to deplete our whole existence. And that's where it comes down to. And if we don't, as people start caring about each other and caring about our community again, they're going to secede. We're going to be the minorities, which we're really not. They started that whole thing. We have never been minorities. They started that to make us feel less. But if we don't wake up and start caring for our community again, take it back to the old school values where the Black Panther Party has started. See, I really love that part of history. I really love the things that they did for their community. But you see how the government shut them down, right? Because they knew if they would have let them continue, they wouldn't be able to stop us.
They're back.
I welcome it.
We got a few of them. They're back.
I didn't know that. They need to come to South Carolina for sure.
Yeah, I'm connected with some. They're back.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're back.
Well, that's great. That's great. And hopefully we can build momentum off of that and keep building in the community, because we need those values again. And we need men like that talking to our young men, letting them know, hey, you are a young king. Don't act like this. Don't let them feed you this garbage and put these people in your head and thinking, oh, you got to be like this rapper and that. That is all things to distract you from things that you're supposed to be, to who you're supposed to be in a society.
That is so true. Y'all, I've been sitting here just, oh, I feel like I'm at Bible study or something. You know, y'all have really blessed my soul. I'm just, this came together a lot better than I expected. But I agree with everything that everybody has said thus far. Just kind of hitting on some of the highlights. Um, Church has gotten to where it's more entertainment than anything. Um, which I don't really understand because, like Letha said, it used to be a hospital, it used to be a rehab center. It used to be a place where if I wasn't feeling well here, or if I wasn't feeling well here, or in my spirit, I knew I could go to church and get right and be all right. But now it's just entertainment. It's just something to do, and it should not be that way. Um, and then to what Krishana said, Black men do need a space to be vulnerable. They do need that space. And I know that I've spoken about this previously on our podcast, um, to where in my past relationships, I didn't allow the men that I was with to be vulnerable. And that caused a lot of issues, within the relationship. And it also caused a lot of issues with them within them. So our Black men do need us to give them that space to be vulnerable. As just as women, there's just something that we can do to help them, because like you said, they do take on a lot that we as women will never understand. We'll never understand what they have to go through as men, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. We'll never be able to kind of grasp that concept, because the weight of the world is kind of on their shoulders. Because the natural order of things, men are supposed to be the protectors, the providers, the head of household. And so, because of that, we as women, we have to allow them the space to be vulnerable. And also, and I'm speaking to myself again, we have to allow them the space to lead. Okay, let me just follow me for a second, because I'm doing some self-reflection here. You have to give them the space to lead. Miss Independent Black woman, you got to give them the space to lead. And what that means is, if this man is being led by God first and foremost, he's got to be led by God, not somebody of this world. He has to be spiritually led by God. When that spiritually led by God man is able to lead properly, then there comes a lot of peace behind that. There's a lot of mental peace. There's a lot of emotional peace. There's a lot of physical peace. I mean, everything you just be like, God, where did this come from? It came from him. It came from him. Now, where a lot of women self-sabotage is that they try to think, why are you doing this? And I've never had that. Let that man lead. Shut up and let that man lead. If that man is disciplining a child, let him discipline that child. That child needs that discipline from that man. He needs that. A lot of these kids need that. And a lot of us as moms, we step in, oh, don't hit my baby. Don't say that to my baby. Don't do that. No. Like Letha said, we need that discipline back in the household. That's part of being a leader as a Black man, is just being able to instill that discipline in the children. That's part of it. And we as moms, we can do that too. But I'm gonna tell you, from a woman's perspective, when my mama was disciplining me, it was like, okay, mom, all right. But when daddy said something, it was totally different. My mama could say, go in the room, sit down, don't come out until I tell you to. Okay, mama, all right. I go in the room 5 minutes. I'm back out. Daddy tell you to go in the room and sit down. You went in the room and you sat down. You were scared to move. Better yet, you were scared to breathe the wrong way because you knew if you came out that room, you were going to be disciplined. You were going to be disciplined. So just being able to allow the man to just lead and not question his leadership and not especially questioning him in front of people. That's very demeaning to any Black man, period. And so us as Black women, we have to learn how to, as one of my elders at the church say, gotta learn how to go to shut up school. Gotta learn how to go to shut up school sometimes, Black women. I know we like to talk and I'm gonna get my point across and you gonna hear what I have to say. No, sometimes it's okay to shut up. It's okay to just say, okay, you got it. Whatever you say. It's not always about who's right and who's wrong. But if that man is in a position, if he's in a leadership position, a mentorship position, let him lead. Let him be a mentor. And if it's something that you don't agree with him on, when y'all are behind closed doors or wherever, and it's just the two of you, then y'all have a discussion about whatever it is. But don't embarrass him in front of everybody. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because then that does something to him mentally, like, okay, well, maybe this person doesn't have the confidence in me. This person doesn't appreciate what I'm trying to do, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it causes a lot of problems. So us as Black women, we have to learn how to support our Black men more. And a lot of that sometimes is us learning how to let them lead, learning how to be quiet, hush, allow them to discipline the children in the right way, you know, and just support them overall from just the overall aspect because Black men already have it hard. They're already stereotyped as being thugs and just drug dealers and all type of the negative stereotypes. They walk out of the house, you're stereotyped. You wake up in the morning, you're a stereotype. I can say this because, like Lisa said, the young men that are at my daughter's school, and it broke my heart to hear this young man say this. And I'm gonna try not to get emotional because it really did break my heart. And he said, I'm so tired of people looking at me like I'm a YN. And for people who don't know what that means a young Negro. And he said, I'm so tired of people looking at me like that. Like I'm so much more than that. Like that's not what I am. And I couldn't do nothing but just hug him and cry because I'm like, I know that's not what you are. I know that's not what you are. But you have got to get to that point where you don't allow what other people think about you to become what you think about yourself. And so I had to talk to one of the male teachers and say, hey, y'all need to grab him and hold on tight to him. Because if you don't, we're going to lose this one to society. Because this young man want to go somewhere. But if we don't put the right things in him now, he's going to end up one or two places. He's going to end up 6 feet under, or he's going to end up behind somebody's bars. And I don't want that from him because he's a very, very talented young man, very intelligent. He has a very promising future. But like I said, if our Black men don't grab hold to him and mentor him so hard, we're gonna lose him. And there are so many like him in society that, like Krishana said, they are crying for help. They are begging for our help. And they need us. And it's not just our young men, but it's also our young women. And to speak to a quick point about my daughter, she was having some issues at school, And it was some dress code issues. And I had her band directors keep contacting me saying Jada's wearing the wrong thing in school. And she's wearing the wrong things in band practice. Her stuff is too tight. It's not in compliance. So I could have played this one or two ways. I could have said, I bought those clothes. She gonna wear them. Stop calling my phone. I could have said that right easily, which is what a lot of these moms do. They just, whatever. She got clothes on. You better be happy she ain't walking there naked. But I didn't do that. Majority of our band staff at the school are Black men. So, like I said, self-reflection. I had to say, hey, these men are trying their best with these kids, and they know what these kids are up against. They don't need to be up against me too. So I said, hey, what does she need to be wearing? How can we get her in compliance? Because I'm here to support you. Because at the end of the day, y'all are a part of her building her character and building who she is. She's becoming a young woman. And if I step in and I say, hey, let her wear whatever she wants, the older she gets, she gonna wear whatever she wants. She gonna go on the job and feel like, oh, I don't have to wear uniform. I can just wear my regular clothes to work. Or I can just, I can just do this, I can just do that. And it's like, no, you can't do that. Who am I to say, hey, Black man, don't tell my black daughter don't wear something? Because at the end of the day, I am a single parent. So anytime I have a male that says, hey, you need to make sure she's in compliance because first of all, we don't want her to get suspended from school because she can get kicked out of the band. It's in the band handbook, and we don't want that for her. She's a very talented musician, and we love her being a part of our program. So me working with them, never gonna be a problem. Whatever y'all need, I got you. I got you. So I think as a society, period, and just us as Black women, period, we have to learn how to support our men in leadership and mentorship a lot more without questioning them and without fighting against them or fighting with them because they don't need that. They got enough on their plate. They have enough on their plate. My daughter has this one teacher, I think he teaches like psychology or something. She fought to get in his class because she was like, I've heard about his class. I really want to take his class. He seems like a really cool teacher. When I met this man on parent teacher conference day, I see why she wanted to be in his class because he definitely was, a very common person, but just talking to him and listening to how he does his class, how he checks in with them, um, how he says, hey, and he noticed that, my daughter was kind of reserved. And he tells her all the time, speak your mind. What is it that's on your mind? Tell me what's going on with you. And she wouldn't do it at first, but now he can't get her to stop talking. And it shows at home because sometimes I have to be like, wait a minute, girl, hold on. Wait, let's not forget I'm still your mom. Like I want you to express yourself, but let's not forget that I'm still your mom. So like Mr. Dennis said, it's all about finding that balance, in both our young men and our young women. And having those Black men in leadership and mentorship roles is so important to our kids on so many different levels. And like I said, I'm gonna have to follow up with that young man because y'all don't even understand. That's really what inspired this topic tonight. Is just our Black men gotta get a hold to our kids, particularly our boys, especially Jackson, Mississippi. We need our Black men to get a hold to these boys because if we don't, we're not gonna have a generation to take care of us when we get when we get older. We're just not. We're not. So it is important for our Black men to step up, and it is important for us as Black women to support them in any way that we can. And that means sometimes being quiet. I hate to say that, Black women, but sometimes we do need to be quiet. It's okay to voice our opinions in the right way, but sometimes we do need to step back and just kind of allow the Black men to take on their leadership roles and take their rightful place in society. Just let them do them. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all go ahead. Go ahead.
Justin, do you have anything?
I know the hour getting late, but I wanted to ask two more questions. Rather than picking somebody, um, who would like to go first?
I'll go
Wait,
first.
There you
yeah,
go.
okay, okay.
All right, Bishop. No, Reverend. Um, wait. Some preachers don't like to be called Reverend. You don't mind, do you?
Don't call me late for dinner.
Okay. What would you say to Black men who feel unqualified, unprepared, or too broken to lead or mentor the next generation?
What would I say
Yes, sir.
to them?
Yes, sir.
I would say, first and foremost, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is nothing about you that God does not know about. And when we put our hands and our trust and faith in God, He will show you who you really are. And once He shows you who you really are, because He shows you the good, the bad, and the ugly, He wants you to lean on that which is good because God is good. And then when you lean on what's good about you, then you're leaning on the God that is good in you.
Amen. Um, Ms. Kashana, what do you want Black men to understand about the urgency of showing up, even imperfectly, for the next generation?
You don't have to be perfect. We're not asking you to be perfect. We're asking you to take your place again. There's always going to be a need for you. Don't matter if you've been incarcerated, if you are, everybody has a story. Everybody has a purpose. We don't need you to be perfect. We need you to willing to help raise our young kings and get them back on track. Cause like they said, they're not gonna be around much longer if they keep going the way they're going. So we need your presence, your stories, your gifts. I think everybody has a gift. We need you to share with them, to be willing to listen. Everyone has a purpose, and just because you've fallen short or messed up doesn't disqualify you.
Mm.
And Krishana, those are actually the men that we need to step up the most. The ones that have fallen short but have been able to get back on the right path. Because I feel like if the boys see that, even the young ladies, if they see that, then they can say, hey, I realize that everybody's human. I can make a mistake, but I can also come back from that. And I think that's what a lot of our men are failing to realize. And like y'all said earlier, some of our men are saying, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time to do the mentorship thing. I don't have time. People make time for what they want to make time for. Um, and I don't, say that that's an excuse because sometimes they may not have time, and I get it. You got to work, you got to provide, you got to feed, you got to be able to take care of your own family, and then to try to step outside of that and try to be a mentor, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, and I do get it. Um,
I gave this
but
example to
again,
one of the guys. I gave this example to one of the
yeah,
guys that told me he didn't have time. I said, so would you have time after they rob you, after they break in your house, after I mean, like, when will you have time? When will you say, I could have made a difference, or I could have stopped him? I could have, essentially, like, let's just be real. It could be your neighbor. Like, it could be like a lot of these houses are getting broken into out here. It's your neighbor. It's the young boy down the street because he's misguided. But you knew this and you didn't try to step in and say anything. So when will you have time? Or will you have time when he's shot and dead because he was in the gang and you knew this was going on, but you decided to mind your business? Like, when will you have time?
Mm. Um, I guess talking to the people who don't feel like they have time, um, it don't take as much time as you think it takes. I think we feel like it takes hours of conversation, when in reality, just calling, asking how they doing, and being quiet and listening to them is a good 15-minute conversation that can be life changing for our youth. Um, I recently finished classes at Light University for mental health coaching with a focus on young people. So I'm actually getting ready in the state of New Jersey to start working with young people um, in this arena. But I don't know if you all are familiar with who Dr. Joy DeGruy is, but she wrote a book about what she calls post traumatic slave syndrome. That's not a DSM-5 registered disorder, but she just talks about how things of the past are having an effect on us today. As a I'm 41 years old now, but back in my day, I would have been considered a YN. So I am the kid that was told you'll be dead in jail by the time you're 15. Um, and I'm also the kid that one pastor who had spent some time in the street came and sat in my living room. I'm not bragging about this, but while I was rolling up, he sat down and talked to me anyway. And I'm like, you mind? I asked him that just to see what he'd say. Because you in my house. This is what we finna do. He was like, what that got to do with me? I don't want none. And that conversation literally shifted my mindset. It didn't happen inside the four walls. And I do want to say, I only mention the four walls because I'm listening to both of y'all talk, and I know your ministry is beyond the four walls. So I just needed people to hear y'all say it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think I think it would be so beneficial to try to get Black therapists, um, or Black people with reasonable thinking patterns to be able to sit down and have uh, conversations, not so much even with the kids. Um, I think the parents of those children need more help than the children, because those parents are creating those children. And I'm not saying it's the parents' fault, because I understand that our children are super influenced by social media. Um, but I think, like you say, working in community, um, we can recover our children. That's one of the things that I learned in the class, is that as a mental health coach who focuses on helping youth that deal with disorders, I'm actually not supposed to work with children with that certification. I'm actually supposed to work with the adults of those children to help the adults identify what's going on and to keep the adults reminded to stay merciful, stay graceful, stay calm. Remember that they're still developing in the area of the brain that um, functions the reasoning properties. And so I think that anybody listening to this that's looking to help young people, if you are in the South Carolina area, first of all, reach out to them. Anywhere in the South Carolina, if you got to take a couple of hours drive, it's 2 hours worth of child's life. If you don't have time, is the 15 minutes, is the 30 minutes, is the hour worth a child's life? That's what I'm asking. I heard the pastor say they'll never, um, they're going to try not to ever let another black man get in that White House. I think we could force them to if we mentor these children and work with them, because we can develop the next Barack Obama. We can develop the next whatever great African American or black leader that's out there simply by having the conversation needed to allow that child to open up. I think it's very telling how Frederica said that her daughter heard about the psychologist or the therapist class. And when you met him, you knew what was going on. One of the things Frederica Letha noticed about me, I actually wrote a book called Courageous Vulnerability that talks about men being vulnerable, opening up and dealing with your traumas so that you can be a benefit to other people. And that gentleman who allowed your daughter to be able to just be her, understood where she was coming from. Now she's in a psychology class that could possibly lead her to a place where she becomes a psychologist because she was exposed to something else. Because I think for me, I was exposed to preachers, basketball players, street dudes. I've been a preacher, I've been a basketball player, and a street dude. When I got exposed to therapists and psychologists, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I was never exposed. I was exposed to rappers, but it never impacted me. But the first poetry I ever read was Tupac Shakur. And I thought it was interesting that with everything Tupac Shakur was doing on the music videos, his poetry book was something totally different. And so I would just encourage anybody listening to how much time would it take? How much time is worth our children's lives? Is it too hard to pick up a phone and to say, hey, I'm just checking them? As a man, I just want to know how you're doing. And then be quiet. Like that's what we have to learn to do is let the children get it off their chest. And once they've poured out the life that they've lived, now you got a fuller understanding of where they're coming from, and you can use all of the you can use the much more life that you've lived to pour back into them with love, with kindness, with empathy, with understanding, to be able to say, I just want you to know I care about you. Call me anytime. You'd be surprised how much of an impact that because I think that what we've lost more than anything is influence. Our children are no longer influenced to care if we're disappointed in them. But if they see us doing things that matter, we can win back their care about what we think, and then we could be more effective in their lives. And that when I read your profiles and when I read what y'all are doing and the things that Frederica sent me, that's what I saw. I'm like, okay, that's what this is. Like the questions that I got together are straight from reading y'all stuff. So I appreciate what you're doing so much. Like I said, I'm just getting started, but I'm all the way in Jersey. So the best I could do is Zoom. But if I can be of service, let me know. I'll make some time. I'm done. I'm sorry.
I want to throw something out there to everybody. First of all, I'm a hush because I keep telling Frederica I'm a hush. I'm a hush. This is awesome. And um, this is truly what it's about. I've heard some things repeatedly that I need to work on, even as a parent. Um, I think I mentioned it last time, but my nephew, um, he loved his auntie. My nephew been caught up a few times. My nephew probably been shot more than 50 Cent. and he is blessed to be here at the age of 24. And I noticed some things was going on with my 21-year-old, and I know when it started. I know what I believe led to that, but what I saw the other week, I just say, I called my nephew because regardless of what has happened, what I see now is what I see, and I know he's trying. And I try to stay on them about checking on each other no matter what. And all I did was send him a text, you know, because he be busy, the young people are always busy, but I'm like, I need somebody that I know that my son will pause and listen to, in that instant moment. And he immediately called me. And it's crazy because he say, I just thank you. Because I no matter what was going on up there in the hospital, I was sending them scriptures, honey. I wasn't finna I can't I can't judge nobody and talk about nobody. I do it if I get mad and I know that's ain't what I'm supposed to do. But it's the fact that when I had sent the message and told him that, you know, I'm seeing something, he immediately called, won't know what's going on. And he got to asking certain questions. I'm like, huh? And he took that space. And so this goes back to what Justin said. A text message or a quick phone call makes a difference. I think for any of us. I mean, I think for anybody, like Reverend Dennis, you a pastor. My heart go out to you because anybody in ministry, Christiana, my heart go anybody, this is ministry, but I, you all get what I'm saying. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. I think that you have to have a good amount of balance. And so when he still took that time, the demeanor of my son like changed. Because he just needed somebody he could talk to without doing this or without telling him how they think he ought to do things. And it's like it wasn't clicking. Now he'll talk to my brother's son. My brother a little older, but my brother don't be meaning no harm. He sometimes have a flip of the lip a little bit. So and he doesn't have any children, but he has helped a lot with our children, but he still has his ways and his thoughts. So it's kind of like if you're not in it on a daily basis, no matter who have raised you, no matter how we was raised, if you're not presently in this generation on a daily basis, you still can't understand. And so um encourage those text messages, you know. I don't I say texting ain't talking. They tell me text is talk. I'm like, no. But technically, if you make a connection with them, so yeah, that's pretty good. I think, yeah, that's good because people do want to be checked on. They do. So, Frederick, I'm done. I'm a hush. Mr.
You're
Dennis,
you're
I'm the
fine.
one
You're
that can
fine.
talk.
You're fine, Lisa. Look, is there anybody in the waiting room? Because I know someone else that wanted to join. Do you see anyone in the waiting room?
It
Your
was,
mic is muted, Lisa.
I'm sorry. I put myself on mute. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't see her in the waiting room though.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I told them that we were recording and we'll upload it. So yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna get it uploaded. Y'all, yeah, I'm sorry, we are kind of delayed on our uploads, but we are gonna get it uploaded.
yeah.
I didn't I had a I'm still learning about submitting things, but it's getting better. I'm learning.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
she's
okay.
not. But we here. Even if
Yeah.
somebody have to jump off, we're here. So I'm a hush because I'm enjoying y'all. Like
You are funny.
Reverend, Mr. Dennis. Don't judge me. I am a very um, but I believe people need to be respected by their title, so I do apologize. I do apologize. I like to hear
I
that.
am not into titleitis.
I can tell. I can tell, but I'm still gonna apologize. Cause don't think I didn't catch how Justin jumped in behind me and was like, Reverend. I called it. That was it. And I apologize.
Well, Justin is a preacher's kid, so he have to do his due diligence on that part.
I am one too. I'm one from the other side.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
So y'all got this. I'm listening. I
Yeah,
don't know who wants to put y'all just continue. I'm enjoying Reverend Dennis and Miss Christiana
I
and
know.
Brother Justin and Sister Frederica. So I'm going back on mute.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this last thing and then I'm gonna pass it to Mr. Dennis. I know it's getting kind of late. For those who are on the East Coast, it's probably like almost 11 o'clock, I believe, out there. So I know y'all have to get up, go to work, and do your things in the morning. Um, but I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Mr. I call him Mr. Dennis. He's still Mr. Dennis to me. And I'm gonna say Queen Krishana. Okay, my sister Queen over there. I just first want to thank you both for agreeing to be our guest on tonight. I know y'all could have been doing anything else besides this, and I'm so glad that you all answered the call. When I asked you guys to come on here with this topic, because it was weighing heavy on my heart when I had that conversation with that young man, and I was just like, who could I get for this? And I was thinking about this person, that person. And I was just like, no, I already have the perfect people. Let me just reach out to my Authentic Beauties family. Like this is like a whole mentorship, leadership program right here. Like you already have the people. So again, I just want to say thank you for answering the call. And Mr. Dennis, you have always kind of had those words of wisdom. Um, Even though I'm not a young lady anymore, but you have always kind of had those words of wisdom. And I know I probably should have told you these before now, but you've always had those words of wisdom that I've always needed to hear. And you've always said those things, even though you didn't even know what I was going through. Um, and I just want to thank you for that. And I don't think that you really understand the impact that you've kind of had like on me throughout the time that we've known each other. And I just want to say that I thank you and I appreciate those words of wisdom. And we'll connect, you know, we'll connect and get together and talk a little more. Um, but I just want to say again, thank you to the both of you for coming on here. We do appreciate y'all very, very much. Your words, your inspiration. I hope that somebody was able to, get something from this, whether it was, we need to go to shut up school sometimes. We need to support our Black men more. We need to make time for our young people. We really do. We need to make time for our young people. That's just a given. Like you said, it could just be something so simple as a phone call, a text message. It only takes 15 minutes to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. Say, hey, where's your mental at today? How are you feeling? What's on your mind? Because you never know that 15-minute talk could be the difference, literally the difference between life and death for them. Because some of our young people are dying mentally every single day, and they say nothing. They say absolutely nothing. And then we wonder why, well, why are these children so crazy? That's because we're not allowing them the space to be vulnerable. We're not allowing them the space to speak freely without us, and I'm guilty of this myself, and I'm learning how to allow my child the space to speak her mind, you know, without me saying, hey, you can't say that. That's disrespectful. Or don't forget, I'm your mama, this and that, blah, blah, blah. She's about to shut down again. She's trying to open up to me, and I'm telling her not to without telling her not to. So we got to get to that point where we allow our kids to express themselves, because if we don't step up, we're going to lose this young generation. We're losing our kids. They are dying at a rapid rate, and we have to step up as a community, as a Black community, and save our children. All right. I'm gonna kick it to Miss Krishana and then Mr. Dennis. And you know, y'all say y'all words, and I'm gonna go back on mute.
Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for the opportunity. And I hope that this dialogue brought some awareness to the situations, even though we all aware of what's going on in our society, in our community, when it comes to the lack of, leadership of Black men. But I don't want this conversation to be the end of everything. You know what I'm saying? People listening and watching, I want them to be inspired to actually get involved and make a difference and be a difference.
Mhm.
I mean, that's my main goal. My main goal really here in South Carolina, I'm national director for the program, but I have a vested interest in South Carolina because we have to start where we live first. If I get South Carolina to be involved and be an example, then I can spread it out to other states. So, like I said, if I have anybody that's listening or watching that is in South Carolina that will like to mentor or want to find out how they can be of help or service to our initiative, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
All right. Well, I just want to thank Frederica for reaching out to me to invite myself and Krishana on to be on the platform tonight. I don't think that everybody knows that Miss Frederica was original, the original first expansion of Authentic Beauties in Mississippi. She was the first director. She used to be the first director, and she was the first wanting to be a Gems and Jewels mentor. And so we could not ever just say no to the very first director that we had outside of South Carolina of Authentic Beauties. So it's a pleasure. It's always good to have you, uh, on our post and always supporting. We're very thankful for you for that. And of course, I had no idea that the very few things that I ever said was impactful enough that it touched you in any way. But I just thank the Lord for that, because it's always God, and I'm thankful to have met Miss Letha tonight. And my main man now, we're gonna have to call him the main man, Justin. We're gonna have to get you hooked up. I know you in New Jersey, but we gonna have to get you hooked up to do some kind of virtual something or another with Authentic Beauties on the national level or the local level or whatever level, because it's virtual. We can be on whatever level. So we're really excited about that. And again, this is a wonderful platform, Miss Letha. Thank you for bringing Frederica on so that she can have an outlet so that she can continue the ministry that she actually has. We thank God for Jada, because I believe that the founder of Authentic Beauties met Frederica and her daughter Jada, and she was so taken aback by Jada that we had Jada on a virtual interaction with the Authentic Beauties at one point. for our South Carolina Tea Party. She was one of our virtual speakers. So that is Frederica's daughter, Jada. And so it's just like having family. But once again, I thank you all for inviting us on. And if you need us at any other time, please don't hesitate to bring us back. I think we would love it. I'm glad that Krishana was available. She came on the screen, y'all. She don't be doing that. She don't come on the screen, but she came on the screen. I'm happy to see her in person. It's been about a year since I've seen her in person.
Yes, we'll definitely be having a part two to this discussion. So y'all be ready because we're gonna put together a whole panel next time.
All right, all right. You gotta bring back Mr. Justin. He can't escape. We gotta get some more therapy, some therapy notes. And we gotta get, like it says, real talk with Letha. We gotta get Miss Letha and the real talk.
Well, I appreciate you all. This has just been phenomenal. They know I'm a big crybaby, but I ain't gonna cry tonight. But this is just phenomenal. Um and It's not much, but anything, we can do as far as you all want to set up anything virtual. I just sent forget a typo to Justin and Frederica. So as I learn this technology stuff, we'll make sure that anything that's set up virtual, you all will have the access to be able to do it. And it doesn't per se have to be on this night, if it's what I'm saying. So it's not much to offer, but we want to make sure that within the next week or two that will be set up. I've been trying to change the settings while we've been on, but it's telling me I could appoint people, but I'm gonna have to learn how to do it when I'm not recording, I guess. So moving forward, it's not much, but if we can't be anywhere physically, if it's something you all need to do virtually, um and they have the schedules for when we record. We only record every other Wednesday. So anybody needs something for virtual purposes or anything, we'll make sure you have access to do it, whether I'm able to be present or not. We're going to do that because, just in general, I do think we just got to be more active with the resources we have. And Krishana, I stand convicted, even though I know you per se wasn't talking per se to women, but we as well, especially me, holler about what I ain't got time for. And I'm the one that posted on Facebook yesterday is over 84,000 seconds in a day. So, you know, just saying, and this is a reminder, what God give is sufficient. And this is a reminder, like my daddy said, you manage your time and let your time manage you. We make time for what we want and what's important to us. And I appreciate her breaking it down like that because it was especially the time factor. I'm gonna get strive to do better in general about what I say I do and don't have time for. So I don't want to be the one to end this. So I'm gonna leave it between one of you four people. And maybe let's see, we got Justin on. So let Justin be the pick of the litter on who he think needs to tell us until we meet again. Or till next time. My son told me the other day, stop saying goodbye. That's the 19-year-old. That's 20. I think how old that boy 20? Yeah, that's the one I was telling y'all about the youngest one that, could nobody deal with but them people at Callaway. Oh, they knew how to talk his language.
We're gonna honor
Yeah.
we're gonna honor the Reverend and let him take us out.
Okay.
And he knew I was gonna do that too.
I did. So if you don't mind, because he called on the Reverend, we're going to go ahead and pray. Father, we thank and we praise you for this time that we have had to come together to fellowship, to break bread, and to talk about the issues that matter most to us and that are in your heart, God. Lord, that we would be able to become better people, become better leaders, and to access the community with compassion, with love, with care, and with what you have given us, which is our gifting, our talents, and the motivation and the anointing. Father, we thank you for this time that we've had. Bless each individual who've had the opportunity to be a part of this. Bless their families, bless their loved ones, and each and every individual who tunes in. Touch them in a special way. Touch their situations, touch their circumstances, and let them become activated to do your work and to do your will in your way. In Jesus' name, thank God and amen. Till we meet again, y'all. We
Amen.
family now.
Right. Till we meet again. Yes, we are
Meet
forever
again, y'all.
family.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Mhm.
y'all.